Elon glances at his watch, calculating the time left until their arrival. His chief engineer, James Carter, sits across from him, discussing propulsion technology. The jet's interior hums with quiet efficiency, a testament to cutting-edge aviation. A flight attendant pours another round of coffee, the scent filling the cabin. Outside, the sky is clear, the deep blue ocean stretching endlessly below. "We'll be in San Francisco in 2 hours," the pilot announces over the intercom. Elon nods absent-mindedly, focused on a new set of SpaceX schematics. Unbeknownst to them, a critical system failure is about to unfold. The jet shudders slightly, but no one notices yet. The co-pilot frowns, tapping the pressure gauge. "That's not right." An alarm blares, flashing red on the control panel. "We're losing cabin pressure," the captain says, tightening his grip on the yoke. Oxygen masks deploy inside the cabin, startling Elon and his team. James grabs his mask, his face etched with confusion. What the hell is happening? Elon remains calm, analyzing the situation. "We need a status update, now." The intercom crackles. "Mr. Musk, we have a critical systems failure. We need to land immediately." Outside, the once serene sky now seems menacing as the jet begins its emergency descent. For the first time in years, Elon Musk is not in control of his own fate. The ground rushes toward them faster than anyone expects. "Brace! Brace! Brace!" The pilot yells, gripping the controls tightly. Elon clutches his seat, his mind racing through survival scenarios. A violent jolt throws James against the side of the cabin. The landing gear scrapes the desert floor, kicking up a thick cloud of dust. The jet skids to a stop, the silence afterward almost deafening. Elon unbuckles his seatbelt, scanning the damaged interior. "Everyone okay?" he asks, his voice unusually tense. Smoke begins to rise from one of the engines. Their fight for survival has just begun. Elon shields his eyes from the blinding sun, surveying the wreckage. James stumbles onto the sand, wincing as he tests his ankle. "They need to check the supplies," Elon says, his voice steady despite the situation. A flight attendant pulls out a satellite phone, but there's no signal. The desert stretches endlessly, unforgiving and vast. Elon picks up a charred metal fragment, running his fingers over its jagged edge. "We're completely off course," the pilot mutters, checking his emergency beacon. A distant vulture circles overhead, an ominous sign of their predicament. James looks at Elon. "So, what's the plan?" Elon kneels beside the emergency kit, taking stock of their limited supplies. "We have water, but not enough to last long," James notes grimly. The heat is unbearable, making every breath feel heavy. A flight attendant shields her eyes, scanning the horizon for any sign of movement. The satellite phone remains useless. Only static fills the speaker. Elon takes a deep breath, his mind calculating survival probabilities. "We need to build shelter before nightfall," he decides, his leadership kicking in. James starts gathering torn seat cushions and fabric for makeshift shade. As the sun begins to dip, the desert seems to grow even more dangerous. The fire crackles weakly, barely keeping the cold at bay. James rubs his hands together, shivering despite the heat from the flames. "We need a signal fire," Elon states, drawing rough diagrams in the sand. A flight attendant, Maria, looks toward the dark horizon. "What if no one finds us?" Elon remains calm. "Then, we make sure we find them first." The distant howl of the wind creates an eerie atmosphere. The wreckage behind them looms like a ghost of their former lives. James sighs. "We'll have to move before supplies run out." Elon nods, already calculating the best course of action for survival. The desert air is freezing as dawn breaks, a sharp contrast to the heat of the previous day. Elon selects James and Maria to join him on the scouting mission. "If we can find higher ground, we might be able to spot a road or settlement," Elon explains. The remaining survivors stay behind to tend to the wreckage and maintain the fire. James adjusts his makeshift backpack, fashioned from aircraft seat straps. Maria double-checks their remaining water supply, knowing every drop matters. The trio sets off into the unknown, footprints vanishing quickly in the shifting sand. Elon walks with purpose, driven by a determination that has defined his entire career. Behind them, the survivors watch, hoping this mission will bring them closer to rescue. Elon shields his eyes from the sun, scanning the endless horizon. James collapses onto a rock, wiping sweat from his forehead. Nothing, just sand and more sand. Maria adjusts her broken watch. We've been walking for hours. We need a plan. Elon takes a deep breath, refusing to let exhaustion cloud his thinking. In the distance, a faint glimmer catches his eye. Something metallic reflecting sunlight. There, he points, hope flickering in his voice. James squints. It could be wreckage, or it could be a vehicle. Maria grips her canteen. Either way, it's our best shot. With renewed determination, they begin their descent toward the unknown. Elon brushes sand off the windshield, revealing a rusted and sun-bleached dashboard. James kicks a tire, which crumbles slightly from years of exposure. It's been here for ages, Maria mutters, shaking her head. Inside the vehicle, they find old supplies, a half-empty water bottle, a rusted toolset, and faded maps. Elon studies the maps, cross-referencing them with the landscape. If this road was once used, it might lead somewhere useful, he says, voice steady. James sighs. Or it might lead to nowhere. Maria pockets the maps, determined to stay hopeful. They take what little they can and prepare for the long trek back to the wreckage. Elon stops abruptly, his ears tuning in to the low rumble. James exchanges a nervous glance with Maria. Is that an engine? The sound grows louder, but they can't see anything yet. Elon motions for them to move quickly, leading them toward a nearby dune for cover. The desert heat distorts the horizon, making it hard to judge distance. Maria grips the old map tightly, her breath shallow with anticipation. The rumble turns into a steady roar. Something big is approaching. James whispers, "This could be it. Our way out." Elon narrows his eyes. Or it could be trouble. Elon peers over the ridge, analyzing the movement of the vehicles. James clenches his fists. If they're friendly, we're saved. Maria shifts nervously. And if they're not? At the crash site, the remaining survivors wave desperately, trying to signal for help. One of the vehicles stops abruptly, and figures step out, scanning the wreckage. Elon takes a deep breath. They go down, but cautiously. James grips a piece of metal as a makeshift weapon, just in case. Maria exhales, muttering, "Let's hope they're here to help." The sun casts long shadows as they begin their careful descent toward the unknown. The leader of the group steps forward, his boots crunching in the sand. Elon raises a hand in greeting. "They need assistance. We crashed not far from here." The man studies them for a long moment before responding. "You're lucky we found you." James grips Maria's wrist, still unsure of their intentions. One of the men tosses a canteen toward the survivors, offering water. "Who are you?" Maria finally asks, voice wary. The leader smirks slightly. "We operate a remote mining facility, closest thing to civilization out here." Relief washes over some of the survivors, but Elon remains cautious. "Can you get us out of here?" he asks, getting straight to the point. Elon listens intently as the leader explains their situation. "We can take you, but it's a long trip back. No guarantees on when we can reach a city." "Yeast I." James rubs his temples. "We could wait here, but there's no telling when search teams will arrive." Maria glances at the sky, watching the sun dip lower. They don't have much time to decide. The remaining survivors murmur among themselves, weighing the risks. Elon finally speaks. We take the chance. Staying here isn't an option. The leader nods. Gather what you need. We leave in 20 minutes. James exhales, glancing back at the wreckage one last time. Maria whispers, let's hope we made the right choice. The trucks rumble forward, kicking up dust as they leave the crash site behind. Elon stares out the window, mind racing with everything that had happened. James leans back, exhaustion finally catching up to him. Maria holds onto the seat tightly, still on edge despite their apparent safety. The convoy winds through rough desert terrain, each mile taking them farther from danger. One of the men riding with them smirks. You must be important for people to come looking. Elon chuckles, shaking his head. Not as important as survival right now. The sun sets behind them, casting long shadows over the barren landscape. For the first time since the crash, a sense of relief settles over the group. The trucks roll into a dusty outpost, the first sign of civilization in days. Elon steps out first, stretching his stiff muscles after the grueling journey. James looks around, taking in the sight of communication towers and supply buildings. Maria exhales sharply, eyes welling up with emotion. They made it. The leader of the convoy shakes Elon's hand. This is as far as we go. From here, you find your own way back. A satellite phone is handed to Elon, finally giving them a lifeline to the outside world. He dials a number, voice steady despite everything. This is Elon Musk. We need extraction. James lets out a breathless laugh. I never want to see another desert again. As helicopters appear on the horizon, the survivors realize they defied the odds and lived to tell the tale.